About 71% of the Earth's surface is water covered, and the oceans hold about 96.5% of all Earth's water. The human body is made up of between 50 and 75% of water. This is Living in Liquid, and I'm Jamie Mitchell.
Hey guys, today's pod guest is Michelle Bautista Layton, a scientist, explorer, and an adventurer in every sense of the word. In 2024, Michelle set sail from the USA to French Polynesia, a transformative journey navigating open waters and new horizons on a sailing trip that wasn't just about the destination, but about reconnecting with nature, embracing uncertainty, and finding clarity beyond the lab. With a background in nanoengineering for regenerative medicine, Michelle brings a unique lens to both science and storytelling, blending precision with curiosity and discovery with personal growth. In this episode, we dive deep into what the ocean taught her about resilience, creativity, and the beauty of living life off the beaten path. And also, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with this episode, so please bear with us, but I hope you enjoy it. If you're in the middle of the ocean and things go wrong, you obviously have to go and be able to troubleshoot.
Absolutely. And it's a combination. I would learn from my dad, I would learn from other captains, and I would learn from my own experiences in general. In addition, I'm good at classically learning things through academics and textbooks and watching videos and learning how it works and why it works so that when you're fixing it, things make more logical sense. Like those are parts of my skill set. And then being able to learn from even reading something and being able to apply it. What's nice now is that there's a lot of accessibility to learning tools online because you can watch videos and you can see someone else do it and mimic from them and take notes. For all the different systems on my boat, I have created my own notes and textbook kind of thing alongside books that I've learned from. I've made my own manual so that I know how things on the boat work. It's kind of like an exercise that is fun to not only document the understanding of all the different systems and how they work together, but be able to review and, show others as well.
I want to get into the trip. What was it like? 28 days. Take us through that journey and, the ups and downs and, some of the awesome times and some of the bad times and the scary times. What's it like being at sea for 28 days all by yourself? It's a big ocean out there.
Yeah. And it was my boat, myself, and my partner. I'm lucky to also have him as someone who is a lifeguard and also Coast Guard search and rescue certified. So, he was part of my double single handing adventure as well and my surf buddy. And with that being said, 28 days at sea is much different than 28 days on land. Days in general are different because you're on watch. Someone was on watch 24 hours a day, and therefore it was 3 hours watch on and off even throughout the nighttime. So you would sleep 3 hours at a time or be up even when it was dark outside looking for things like weather changes or lights of another ship or any type of land and checking navigation things around you. Um, and that really makes the days blend together, but in a way that is very peaceful. What's nice about sailing is you do have, once all the sails are set and, there's consistent wind, you actually have the freedom to do all sorts of things. You can make a good meal, you can read a book, hang out, listen to music. I actually had the pleasure of reading through my entire library. I depleted it that I started reading manuals to understand different systems that I, you know, like even more in depth. But then there are times when the weather shifts significantly and because, the boat and with the wind has so much power, being overpowered is quite thrilling, and that's when things start to break. I remember there was this one moment where we caught this bonito and it had, it was having a stress reaction and it kind of had a seizure and there was blood everywhere in the cockpit. And we were like, it had such a rich smell of iron and it was hot that it wasn't good to eat. And right then there was a squall coming in where the wind would go from like 15 knots to 30 knots, and that's pretty significant. And the sail needed to be reduced so that it wouldn't catch as much wind, especially when the wind is going to dramatically increase. And as I was bringing in the sail, the line snapped to do so, and so the entire sail came out, which is the opposite of what needed to happen. And so there was a critical moment in which I needed to figure out how to get the sail in, and I can't do it the normal way. And just jury rigged using tools that I had at hand and remembered where certain things were to reroute the line and create a certain knot that would be strong enough to conjoin the two lines and go around a roller. And it took, I remember like I did 3 iterations within minutes, and like this squall is coming in really fast. And if we get overpowered, it can like, you know, flat the boat or like flip the boat. And so finally got it to work, and then just rode out that squall and had to fix that later. Other cool things that happened on the crossing is the first time trying to fish, accidentally caught a marlin, like literally like an 80-pound fish.
Wow.
And I mean the length of the marlin was wider than the swim step off the berth of my boat, and that was the most beautiful fish I've ever seen. Did not bring it on board at that point, did not have refrigeration. So now I'm going to talk about that. Like a week in, lost all power on the boat. Like that means no refrigeration, like no lights and stuff, no water pressure, no autopilot, so just hand steering. And I remember because it gets tough at that time. You're like catching water to drink, you're eating the food before it goes bad, or like now you only have, things like canned foods or stuff that you preserved, or you get creative with meals. Hand steering is tough 24 hours a day. But I remember like at one point, because there was a period in which I decided like maybe we should try to get back to land to fix this. And like we were sailing into the wind, and I remember in the middle of the night, I was like, we should just go back on course. And he asked, because we were exhausted, like nodding off from not having enough sleep and having to hand steer. Oh, and the waves were so big. When we came out of the lee of Point Conception, I kid you not, like we were riding waves that like they're not breaking, but like 20-25 foot swell. Just
Yeah.
like big lumps of water. So like when you're at the top, you can like see everything, and when you're at the bottom, all you see, you're like in a valley. And so in the middle of the night when it's a new moon, it's so dark, and sailing like down these waves, like we were hitting like 10, 12 knots, like which is like twice as fast as the boat usually goes, without being able to see anything. Like it is so dark you can't even see the water body, you can just hear it. And my only use of navigation were the stars that like I had on a stanchion lined up, and I knew that was the right way to go because you can still check the compass, right? With the headlamp, but then I knew that on that track was with the stars. And I remember at one point we were so exhausted, and my partner looked at me and was like, "Do you believe we can do this?" And then I looked at him, I was like, "I believe, and in my heart, that we can do this." And then we did it. And we continued to sail even with the no power for almost a week. And I like studied upon, or it was about 4 days, and I studied upon like all the books and rewired between the batteries to distribute the load, and decided to sacrifice things like the refrigeration because the insulation wasn't that good anyways, and a couple other things. But I redistributed the power and got the electricity back on, and we continued on. And that also provided us like a lot of other, now what I consider luxuries, like just having fresh water on tap, or like having like a certain amount of refrigeration for things so that the food doesn't go bad. Like those became luxuries, even though now, I mean, like in being home, all that is just accessible all the time. Now I value certain things more, especially water. Fresh water
Yeah.
is like the most precious resource. If if only we could all appreciate it that much. I don't know if that answered your question. I just
Yeah.
started reliving some of these moments that I haven't thought about in a while. Sailing with the moon. So 28 days is a wonderful time to be at sea because you get to see like all sorts of different conditions at night, because how often are you awake throughout the nighttime? Like, for example, I would be on watch maybe like 9 to midnight and then 3 to 6 a.m., or maybe my watch would be at 12 to 3 a.m. And so you get to see, you sit with your thoughts at nighttime, whether it's with a full moon or like no moon and the stars are so clear and it's all you hear are it's like the way that you pierce through the water, you can hear it, you can feel it, the sails, the rigging. You start to be so much in tune with everything. That's been some of my favorite part about the trip. Even though I loved getting to go to different locations, there's something so peaceful about actually being with your thoughts in the middle of the night like that. Like no phone, no internet, not even a book. You're just actually thinking and listening and feeling and being completely in tune with everything around you, whether it's by the navigation or trimming the sails or the sounds and the smells. It's it's really wonderful. I miss it a lot.
Yeah. Which I mean, obviously, worst case scenario out there is the boat gets a hole in it, you capsize. It's the boat's deemed it's done, right? It's sinking. Now, do you obviously you have surfboards on the boat, right? Because you're looking for waves when you're going around the islands, and once you get to land, you're searching for waves. So, like, is that a conscious thing? I know I had a friend actually who's from Lucadia in San Diego, and he circumnavigated the world on his boat, the Petrel. Giles, his name was. He's an older gentleman, but I know he had a paddleboard on his boat, and I
Mhm.
wonder if the boat goes down, is that obviously something you think about, like, well, I can get the surfboard and have this surfboard to be floating on or to try and find land, or, what's the mindset, when you think about worst case scenario?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I have a go kit that I keep on the boat that has like a lot of emergency rations and safety. But in addition, if I knew that the boat was going down, well, whenever I was sailing and on deck, I wore my life vest that has a personal locator beacon on it, which is it's an EPIRB, but like an individual one that goes off when you turn it on. So I would have that, and yes, I would get my surfboard.
Yeah.
Because I know that I could float on that. Like, the best case scenario in a Mayday would be to be able to deploy the life raft, so I actually got a Solus A life raft, and then also, um, disconnect the dinghy and connect it to the life raft, and then also have surfboards. Then
Yeah.
I feel like I would have very high chance of survival even with just the life raft. I would be fine with the EPIRB because I have an EPIRB on the boat and then the two PLBs, one on each life jacket. But I would think that I would survive well in that scenario. I actually have a really great book on survival of others who have survived shipwrecks and things like that that my dad and I used to read out loud together. He
Mm,
was actually the one who said that he was like, "I know that if you had your surfboard and a compass, you would find your way home." Yeah, like, it would be more so if it actually the boat went down and I didn't and none of those things for some reason were able to be deployed, then you would
yeah.
just, eventually, like, probably go hypothermic and then drown. I mean, that wouldn't be the worst way to go.
I mean, you're doing what you love, right? I mean, and I don't know. There's crazy stories of survival out there. If you've got your EPIRB on your life jacket and you can sit out there and tread water and survive long enough, yeah, seems like our technology these days have been able to find people and get out there are pretty amazing.
I know, it is.
Speaking
There was
on that, what about how does your family feel about all these adventures and being out there in that big deep blue, all by yourself or just or with your boyfriend? Like And your dad's probably super proud, obviously, because he taught you a lot of that stuff. But it must be scary for them as parents, right?
Yeah. My mom said that she was like, everyone's like, "Are you worried?" She's like, "I just pray and I just gave her to God." So that's my mom's perspective. She knew that I would always be all right though, because she knows me, that I would be able to survive and figure out along the way, and that it was part of an adventure of my lifetime that I needed to do. And she respects that, and I appreciate that from her. My dad, this had been a project I had been working on for years. I already knew that I wanted to do a sail to somewhere with warm lefts for, ever since I graduated, it was like what I really wanted to do. That's why it became the project of the boat, and then the actually being able to implement it happened in 2024. My dad, he was not doing very well health-wise at the time, and so he I had already subleased the slip and moved to Catalina, and I was going to leave from there, and when he was in the hospital, I, like, came back and I was like, "I can't leave you." Like, I'm his only child, and he had no partner. He's like, "You have to promise me that you'll go. We have been working on this for years, and this is your dream. You need to go." And I said, "Okay, I will go, but you need to promise me that you will fly to Tahiti when I sail there." He said, "Okay, I promise." And so after, there's a month sailing to the Marquesas, and then a few months navigating those islands, and then sailing over to the Tuamotu archipelago and finding the best waves I've ever seen in my life. And then sailing over to the Societies. When we got to Tahiti, my dad flew to Tahiti, and he sailed around with me on Maria for 3 weeks. And we got really good waves over there and had a beautiful experience. And when I dropped him off at the airport, that was the last time I ever saw him. He passed away the next month, and I tried to make it home on time, but I was in the most isolated atoll, uninhabited, and I had just been on, like, a very rough passage that couldn't even connect to Starlink or any internet. And after I got to a protected anchorage, I turned on the internet and there was a voicemail from the hospital, and that he was in the ICU, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to come home, Dad." And he said, "Don't come home." And the last thing he asked me was, what are the differences between what you had expected and what you have experienced that have changed your perceptions about life from this trip?" And that was the last thing that he asked me, and I was able to send him a voice recording of my response to how my perceptions have changed, and that was the last way we communicated. But I really did try to come home, but I was, like I said, on this uninhabited atoll that was 120 nautical miles away from an atoll that I could fly from. And I sailed so hard that night, having to, like, navigate with passes that have currents so strong, up to 12 knots, that you can only leave at certain times. And it was crazy because that night I was due to be on watch soon, and I woke up from a gust of wind that, like, with all the houses, I just knew that my dad was gone. And the sunrise, you could see it too. But yeah.
I'm sure that he was so proud, and I'm sure that he was hanging in there to fly in to see you and hang out in Tahiti. I mean, and even just even those last voicemails, like, it was a lesson. He was still teaching you a lesson and giving you something to think about, even with his last words, And I think that's
Mhm.
just like what an amazing father and teacher he was for you, and to see you living out your dreams and goals, and that reality of you guys growing up. He must have died a very happy man, I imagine.
Yeah. He wrote me so many wonderful letters. We would write each other all the time, but he said it was a pleasure to watch me grow and get to know the human that I became, whether it's
Yeah.
for pride or just love. I'm very grateful for the relationship that him and I got to share and what I was able to learn from him. And because of all of that learning and that experience, I still get to see him everywhere and always in the
There's
yeah.
no doubt that he's in you. Like every time you're on that boat, it's partly because of him, right? It's you grew up on that
Yeah.
boat. There's a connection that you guys will have forever. Probably when you look up and see a certain star, that's probably him, or whatever that is. You're going to have so many cool connections with him still with your journey and what you guys went through. So it's a really special bond, and I feel that having daughters, I hope I can have a type of bond like that with my kids, and they feel like that as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. You should go tandeming.
Yeah, we do. We do a lot. And my youngest daughter, that she can surf by herself, but I know that like if she's not wanting to go, I'm like, hey, let's go tandem, and she's always down to tandem. So it's it's finding ways, and they love the boogie board, the shore break, and the other day I took them out on the jet ski, and had them made tow boards, and they're towing behind the jet ski, and so like I'm making it as fun as I can for them, So it's an awesome thing, I wanna share with them like your dad shared with you.
Yeah.
And did you find? I mean, what were the waves like? Is that the greatest thing ever? Like just turning up and finding the most perfect waves, and there's like zero people around.
Oh my gosh, imagine like coming into a pass and then it's just coconut trees and there's an anchorage like you're sailing by this perfect crystal clear warm water wave with just vibrant color reef and you're sailing by and then you anchor like in this safe lagoon that has like an eye's distance of the wave with some binoculars and you paddle out and I mean they're just crystal clear warm barrels. What a great place to learn how to get barreled
So
over and over again. It almost makes it fun when you have people to surf with. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I've never experienced anything like it. It's very much different than here.
Well, maybe me and my daughter are gonna have to call you up and fly in and jump on the boat and go surf. We're gonna fly over and meet you guys and jump on the boat and come surf. My daughter's goofy foot too,
Yeah,
so yeah, she loves it. She actually is starting to ride a longboard now too. We go back and forth, right? Shortboard when it's shortboardable and longboard when it's a longboard. So,
that's
but
the way
that
to do it.
sounds like the dream. Pulling
Yeah.
up and beautiful water, no one out, perfect waves. It's like the
And
surfers.
you have your whole home with you. Your
Yeah,
bed and your kitchen and your food and your office, your shade, like all there. And then your dinghy is your car. You're like
yeah,
deploying the dinghy and then putting on the outboard and then and then anchoring it off of where this wave is. It's like what a travel hack. I mean, it takes a
sounds
lot of work to get there, but it's honestly like if you're interested in sailing, like very much look into it. I would love to take you sailing. Taken a lot of I've done a lot of sailing. I've done even
yeah,
like whether 3-hour tours to ocean crossings, so, and I've taken a diversity of people sailing as well. It's part of like my networking.
yeah, yeah,
It's a great place to be, and it's a great family activity as well because you have your whole home, everyone gets to learn, and you get to like, truly be on the water and with nature. I love sailing. It's another one of life's greatest gifts, right? Being able
yeah,
to propagate wind and generate your own electricity, create your own water. Pretty cool.
yeah. I've usually done it with my own hands, so being on a boat would be awesome. What's next? What's the next goals you have in mind?
The next goal, it's fast, but I know I can do it. It's to scale the type of engineering that I've been doing to be able to truly work remotely again, bring the boat up to a suitable fashion from everything that I've learned from this sailing trip so far, to be able to get the boat to a level as a home and an office and a vehicle to be able to sail around the world looking for more surf.
Yeah.
There's just so many more waves, and now I understand more so how to access it. I would really like to do that in my lifetime. And it's not in a way of a hurry. I have things to take care of and ways that I need to continue to evolve and progress in my lifetime at this time. But I look forward to doing that again in an even more like enhanced level from
Yeah.
everything I've and what I can do now. That will
Yeah.
be it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just there's so many options, right? There's Indonesia, down into this Fiji. I mean, that whole South Pacific is wide open. It's just seems like there's just the Cook Islands, the Solomon Islands. It goes on and on and on.
Micronesia, the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah. And then what what advice would you give to someone that looks like that's trying to, mold their professional life with their goals? You seem like you have a beautiful balance of, you've done all your education, you're still studying, you've created this job that sort of blends into your passion, which is sailing in the ocean. Like, what advice would you give to any young girl out there, or young man that's looking to sort of blend it all together, like, how do you go about that to make it work and to be as successful as you have been in doing that?
My suggestion to anyone who is looking to be able to blend a balanced lifestyle is to recognize what you are truly good at and you have the most flow with. That is inherently part of who you are to pursue those types of activities. And what I'm mentioning is to identify your strengths and what is fun for you. Because I find that when we are good at certain things and we are passionate about them, we become good at them and they become a strength in our skill set. Pursue that. Even if it seems just pursue it, be yourself. Like something I've said from a young age is I can only be me. And I really suggest to others to identify their passions and beliefs, go out and try things that interest you and figure out how to make that into a lifestyle in which I f- I believe that when we are good at things, we can make our those types of skills into work to trade to make money or get the things that you need. But I really do believe that, like being your true self and your best self will bring you to do the things that you are meant to do. Like I mentioned earlier, what is meant for you will not pass you by. But you must keep flowing. You can't be stagnant. You must
Yeah.
like just keep going with the flow. Sometimes you are going in a direction you did not know you would previously, but it ends up being where you needed to be. And I really believe that. I think some of the biggest shifts in my life that I have not expected, from head injuries to like academic career changes to moving places, all the way to death, they've all taught me so much more than I would have ever learned if I were to have been where I thought I would be. And instead, just by going with the flow, it has made me a stronger, more resilient, and aware person. But I really believe in people. People should be who they are, and enjoy it, and enjoy the curiosity and enjoy life for what it has to bring and provide. I think it's actually more simple than it may seem.
Yeah.
That's what makes sailing and surfing so beautiful, is that they are actually so simple. And we need a lot less than we think we do.
Yeah.
But what we do need is water. you know.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful, Michelle. I thank you so much for being on the podcast, and it's an inspiration to watch what you're doing. And is there anywhere, where can people follow you? How can people follow what you're doing? Have you have a website? Where can everyone find you?
Well, I guess if you would like to find me on the internet, um, I do have a website. It is michellebautistalayton.com. I do have an open Instagram account that I should consider posting on more and sharing my story. It's actually been requested more so that I share more of my story. Instagram, michelle.bautista.layton. I also will be active on, I think, creating type of YouTube videos because I will be integrating more of the nanoengineering perspective that bridges also with the surfing and the sailing. But initially, the Instagram is probably going to be one that I can start with sharing a bit more about my mindset, lifestyle, and perspective that could help others.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question for you. How did you get into, I love that what you are doing is podcasting and inviting others to your podcast so that you can have these conversations with them, asking questions around living in liquid. So there must be quite the variety of people that you interview, and you get to learn from each and every one. So that's a really great way that you get to experience benefit for yourself, but also edit it and let people share their story and learn from themselves, and then you get to edit to so that other people can learn from it as well.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to share with the world, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you. It's just there's just so much cool. I just love, like I said, I love the ocean, love the water. I feel like that I'm gonna be able to talk to a wide variety of athletes, adventurers, and just really really interesting people that have the same passion that I do, but could be potentially a completely different realm. I think, for example, this week I'm going to be talking to a guy that's swam the English Channel, and he trained in his dam in the middle of Australia. He just swam back and forth in a freshwater dam to train for the English Channel. And it's like, well, I want to talk to this guy. It sounds crazy, you know what I mean? So, I want to talk to boat captains that fish in the Bering Sea. And, there's all these different amazing people that have a different look on the water and the way that they see things. So, for me, it's super interesting. So, and you're one of those people, and I'm so grateful that you took the time, and we somehow got through the technology breaking down on us through the conversation, but we pulled it off and we made it to the end.
We did it.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything. What you're doing is amazing, and it's an inspiration. And thank you for being on Living in Liquid. Thanks for listening to Living in Liquid. I'm your host, Jamie Mitchell. This episode was produced by Stacey Piggott. Thank you to the Australian band The Drones for our epic intro music. Please don't forget to follow or subscribe. We'll see you next week.